would say kind of understand the various career fields in finance and Wall Street in particular. And then after you do that, you can kind of get a sense of what fits well with your personality.
Keep your GPA up for a semester and also get involved with the investment club and do pitches as a sophomore. Once you gain the knowledge as a freshman through reading those news sources, and that will help you get involved with the investment club and also introduce you to the Orange Value Fund uh, analysts. This way, once you get to know them, they can help you out, and then once you build up a relationship with them, they can also support you in getting into the fund. One of the Orange Value Fund analysts put this a while ago when I was younger, and I think this is perfect with the investment club is kind of a minor league Orange Value Fund.
Ask questions. Your willingness to learn, your not having an ego, especially during times when you're willing to learn, that's the most important thing. If you ask questions, if you are, for example, talking to alumni, getting to know alumni, asking them questions on their experiences so that it'll help you when you're looking for jobs, when you're looking for internships, when you're doing all that sort of stuff.
Definitely pick up, Wall Street Journal if you get a chance, or read CNBC, read Bloomberg. These are all, most of them are, there's a lot of free, news sources for reading up on what's going on in the markets. Um, and that's how you kind of build together your understanding of finance. And
Start reading the Wall Street Journal, start having knowledge of the markets. For a sophomore or a freshman, I would even say come in here and get Bloomberg certified because that'll increase your chances of getting into OVF, and that will also help you gain a better understanding of the markets.
Bloomberg is extremely important because it's the single-handedly most powerful tool in finance. Every investment bank, every hedge fund, money manager, anyone in the world that manages money uses Bloomberg. It's a very powerful tool to get a lot of information on various securities, things that you are extremely unable to get if you just go into Google. So it's a very, very useful and powerful tool for anyone that's looking for a single source to get the entire world of finance, on a single computer.
A bunch of really cool things. You could look up equity indices all over the world. You could look up interest rates. You could look up futures, forwards, everything of the like. And it is the biggest database that you could ever find.
Up here I have the Bloomberg TV. So Bloomberg TV is usually going on like 24/7. Right now they're interviewing Donald Trump. Indices here, the S&P, NASDAQ, Dow, and then I have things that are important to the general capital markets, which is oil. Oil is another big story. The U.S. 10-year, another huge thing to look at just to kind of see the overall health of our economy and the markets. A high yield ETF. I have some of these things that are crucial to the capital markets that I find very important and I want to keep an eye on. And here I have economic calendars for what's coming out, whether it's mortgage sales or retail sales or our GDP numbers or consumer sentiment, things that are going to allow people to make decisions off of and put prices and that sort of thing to what they have, what they're trading or what their investment portfolio is about. So people make decisions on what's going on in the economy. And then I also have a very filtered news source between here and here where it filters for the things that I like to look at. I like to look at what's going on in China. I like to look at what's going on in the U.S. economy. I like to look at what the central banks around the world are doing. I like to look at the housing market in particular. So these are just some of the things that I personally like to look at, and I can filter through without having to scour through every single piece of article that they have out there. I can just get exactly what I need. And I also have individual securities that I have up here that I can just look dead at, this one little monitor, and I can get all of the securities that I have in my portfolio or that I'm watching over in the Orange Value Fund. And I also have the news source filtered for those companies as well. So I just get that news right as something comes out for that company. It's right here on my screen.
Bloomberg, I would say, is like a language in the financial world. It's a universal kind of thing. So if you are, for example, Bloomberg certified, it already puts you a leg up because you already know how to use that specific terminals, that specific technology that everyone in the financial world uses. Well, the way we use it, we look for company news, company updates. Every week, Professor Diz has us do company updates for the companies we follow. Personally, I follow Range Resources and Toyota Industries. Those are the companies that were assigned to me. and every week I look on Bloomberg on anything new that has happened.
Um, it's a pretty informal application process. Professor Diaz will let everyone know who's a sophomore and who's available to join. He'll send out an email and let you guys know when the applications are kind of due, and you send in your cover letter and your resume. And after that, he will vet through all of the cover letters and resumes and see which candidates he wants to pick to interview. And then there usually will be one or sometimes two rounds of interviews for you to then see if you are fit to get into the fund. GPA is important because it's like it quantifies your, not to the T, but to a certain degree it quantifies how much hard work you put into your studies, which is very important because in these investment banks on Wall Street in general, they're looking at candidates who are going to put their all into their work. They're not looking into people who don't work well in groups, who don't turn in projects on time, who don't take a great amount of time to prepare for a big event or a big exam that they have coming up. So these are all skills that you develop here in class, in your academic studies, that will transition into your work full time. So it's like if a student comes in with a very low GPA, he doesn't put a lot of work into his studies, you can kind of take a guess that he will have the same kind of effort into his full-time position at these investment banks. So that's why it's really crucial. It just kind of measures how much work you're putting into your studies. And of course, getting a high GPA kind of signals that you have learned something from your studies and you're not just there just to get a diploma and walk out of there. You actually took something from the education. And I think that's, really the huge part of it. Does this kid take his work and his studies, or his or her work and studies seriously? And will that effort transition into me hiring this person? So it's just very much a measure of how much effort you put into what's important.
Sure.
It's important because that's what banks use to measure, really. We use to measure how good of a candidate you are. Like, that's what they use to vet. And I'm not supportive of it because I don't believe a GPA is a good representation of a person. Like, you're not, like, especially for us, you're not going to pick a stock based on one number. So why are you going to pick a candidate based on one number, right? That's just one of the factors you have to take into effect of why you're taking this person. But when it comes to banking, they want to know that you can get your work done.